Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are here live from the epicenter of Nostalgia Mania, the heart of the On the Money Sports Lounge, Casino, the mega powers of podcasting, coming to you with another edition of On the Money Podcast with everything you need to know for week 2, week 3, as well as the technical difficulties that we apologize for immensely. We are truly very, very sorry. Thank you for bearing with us. If you are still tuned in tonight, we are going to break down what we just witnessed, what we can see moving forward.
Hopefully no more technical difficulties.
And we can give you a rundown of everything that you need to know, plus some of the medicine that you're not willing to take, as well as some hot takes heading into a week 3 with a ton of superstars that are placed on the IR as we speak, teams that don't necessarily look the same as they did heading into week 1 or draft season when we were picking players, as well as a waiver wire that could potentially have everything that we need or could be nothing more than fool's gold. Money's been working hard trying to get all the kinks out.
Trying to get us at least an hour in, man.
To be able to do. It's been rough sledding. These past 45 minutes have been a little bit rough. We've been trying to proceed with the episode, not knowing if we were live, if we weren't live. Okay, this one's working so far. Chris, thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for sticking with us from the last stream to this stream. We appreciate you. Hopefully you're still not drafting in that crazy league that's going, the league that was going on. Oh, what we got here? Oh, okay.
I have been dealing with internet issues all day long, and I'm not talking about here at home.
It's been weird.
As soon as I walked into work today, they looked at me and go, "What's your last name?" And I look at the old man and goes like, "Bro, just write my name down. OSCAR. There's only one of us that works here. It's 6:51.
This week in that one. Oof.
It's 6:51. Let's get it going." We worked without internet for almost 2 hours today at work, meaning people couldn't put their orders in and they're writing everything down in short codes. Luckily, I know where the majority of everything's at, so I was able to help. Meanwhile, Alex, Javi, and the rest of them are like, huh? Where? No fault to their own, but regardless, I've been dealing with freaking internet issues all damn day, and now I come home, and now we're dealing with them here.
What's going on, Paul? Yes, we are live. We're back. Also must have took over the last podcast. It's frozen. Yeah, so the bad internet has just been following you around all day long, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, it was rough. We thought we were talking to ourselves earlier, and we were trying to.
I'll end up deleting that other video, guys. So don't worry.
I saw that. I did see that post, Chris. I was able to read that. That was good shit.
I can't say nothing bad about Daniel Jones this week on this podcast. Situation.
Well, the Giants did.
He put the ball right where it needed to be, and as great as a rookie game that Malik Neighbors had with 10 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown, which has never been done by a rookie before in a single game. The most important catch of the game, he dropped.
That's crazy.
And if he gets that, the drive continues. They can milk out the clock. They're not going to be able to kick a field goal because, as we all know, Dable, who knew his kicker had a hamstring problem, still had him doing kickoffs.
Alexi pointed that out.
You should have had him. You should have had another field goal kicker ready to go this past Friday and marked him out for the weekend. You didn't do that. Alexi, Giants fan, has come on this podcast. Has come on this podcast and stated, well, not on this podcast, at work, he has stated he believes the Giants are low-key tanking.
Really?
Yes. He thinks they are trying to be as competitive as they can, but not enough to win. And he even said it to this morning, I don't see where we're going to win a game these next 8 games.
Tanking for what, though?
Shador?
Sanders?
But that's if he wants to go there and doesn't play the card of going back to the school.
Paul's 6 and 10. Shador Sanders, that's the big plan. That's what you're tanking for. I mean, has anybody seen Brian Burns? I remember him getting hyped up like the second coming as far as the defensive.
Brian
player.
Robinson was shredding them.
Ran all over
Sanders
them.
isn't the answer, and I don't think Shador is the answer. Maybe they're going to go after Cam Ward. I don't know. I know my Dak Prescott hot take is out the window after the contract extension that was done prior to week 1.
Giants aren't elite anymore tanking. Don't need to tank because in reality they suck. They tank without even needing to tank. Drewski in the comments coming in hot, not wasting any time. There's no need to waste time with all the technical difficulties. We wasted enough time. So we're going coming in.
Listen,
gloves
we're
off.
not filling each other out in a match.
You say
we're
what
not
you
doing
need to
the
say,
grab.
right?
We're not
yeah,
grappling up.
We're not grappling up.
We're not arm barring it and toss to the rope. We're going straight to moments where chair shots are being taken.
Smackdown.
And high-profile maneuvers.
L2.
What a maneuver
L2
is taking place.
Like you got 5 finishers. You just keep hitting the finisher button as quickly. Someone take this guy's phone. Like the Eagles running back just dropping things on the field here. Giants like a German U-boat sunk. Whew. Comments are coming in hot. Giants fans, Jets fans, Eagles fans all checking in here for On the Money podcast. The condensed version of On the Money podcast due to everything that we've got going on. Nonetheless, we're going to cover it all. The fact that the New York Football Giants and the Washington Commanders made history because this is the very first time that a football team that scored 3 touchdowns lost to a football team that scored no touchdowns, because all the Washington Commanders were doing were screen passes that were working. They were running the ball down the field. They were kicking the field goals, and they managed to get the victory. So the Washington Commanders are now 1-1. The New York Football Giants are now 0-2. It was a week where underdogs reigned supreme across the league. Everywhere you looked, the dogs were covering the spread and much, much more. The New Orleans Saints are the number 1 offense in football after a tremendous debacle of Monday Night Football. The Atlanta Falcons are now 1-1, as well as the Philadelphia Eagles in the Battle of the Birds.
Saquon dropped a touchdown pass that would have won the game. Well, put the game away.
Yeah.
And would have won me $37. Thanks, Saquon.
And then you have the Eagles fans who are still in denial about the situation as far as Nick Sirianni and who he is and how good he is and his position and his job. But then you have the other half, and some of these people, 24 hours ago were saying fire Sirianni, and then today they're on Facebook defending Sirianni. So you're gonna have to make up your minds as far as where you stand on the situation, because things right now are very, very muddy. You gotta blame somebody. When losses like the loss that we saw on Monday night happens, you gotta blame somebody. You can't just have everybody go scotch-free riding off into the sunset. You got to blame Saquon. You got to blame the defense for the 2-minute drill. You got to blame Jalen Hurts for not being able to read coverage. I warned you guys about this Eagles defense. They were not going to be good. This Fangio defense was getting carved apart for years in the division that they were in. It's still preseason. Bro, you're right. It is, bro. Like September, it's wild. We saw it last year. It's just we didn't speak on it right away because we were so happy to have football back.
What is it? Only 67 passing touchdowns have been done so far?
66.
It's the lowest in 10 years.
66 passing touchdowns.
So you know what it is? A lot of these quarterbacks did not play preseason.
And it shows, bro. Like, it really, really
What
shows.
was that stat I showed about Jalen Hurts since last year?
What, that they're 2-9?
Yeah, but
his last 11 games?
turnovers. He has 24 turnovers or something like that.
It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting.
Let me look it up real quick. I could just go.
It's absolutely disgusting. And it's only magnified by the fact that A.J. Brown is not there. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. You've got Deebo Samuel out for a couple of weeks. Cooper Kupp, who may or may not be on IR. Puka Nacua, who is on IR. Pacheco, CMC, Raheem Mostert, who's still it's just Tua Tagovailoa, who is officially on IR. Just terrible, terrible, ugly times that we're living in.
Jalen Hurts has turned over the football 24 times since the beginning of last season. That is the most in the NFL. The Eagles are 2-9 in their last 11. Ooh.
Yeah, and I mean, people are going to say it's like you're hating on them, but it's not hating. It's just the reality of the situation.
I can't tell you the ingredients of a hot dog. You're not going to like it.
Yeah, whatever that means, Coach Tomlin. Whatever that means. QBs need to play in the preseason. Yeah, bro, it just at this point, it's one of those things where you got to pick your poison. You run the risk of potentially, somebody getting injured, but then also on the flip side of it,
look at coming out with rust.
Look at the product that we're getting on the field right now.
But a lot, even with the guys who played, it's not looking that sharp.
Across the board, it's really not. It's really not.
Jared Goff looked okay. He's looked a little meh to start the season.
A little sus. Eagles have the 30th ranked defense. There's only 32 teams. That's not hating. That's a fact.
But it's 2 games,
that's
too.
Fact. But, dude, look at what just happened. Look at what you guys decided to run a prevent defense on the 2-minute drill, and you got carved up by prime-time Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
We're not just making shit up right now. We're not. This ain't the media. This is what happened. We all watched the same game. I watched the end of that football game with Eagles fans. They were dejected because they swore in their hearts this football game was over, which made it all the sweeter when you guys continued to leave guys like Ray McLeod wide open, and then Drake London in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown pass to take the lead. I was just like, what's going on, dog? What are we doing here? What are we doing? QB play is down right now for every QB.
But how long is that going to last for Sam?
You like that?
And Derek Carr.
It's a good question.
Realistically, how long is that going to happen?
It's a very good question.
We had a guy go on the forum talking about, look at Derek Carr. I don't hear whatever the hell the statement was.
You know what? Congratulations, because it took you 4 years to be able to come out and make that statement. Don't forget about the fact that Alvin Kamara contributed with 4 touchdowns, right? 3 or 4 touchdowns?
Or the fact that where was this all last year? Where was this 2 years ago?
It wasn't a thing.
It seems like every time there's an election, that's the only year that he's good.
He came out and he was like, I'm not defending the guy. I'm just saying there's some people on here that said his career was over. So, we wrote him off, and he didn't write back.
He wrote back plenty of times.
This is his Geno Smith moment.
Listen.
In these first couple. But credit to them. What they did to the Cowboys was definitely not what I expected whatsoever.
Let's see what they do to Philly.
And credit to their offensive coordinator. What the hell is this? Rejoice? Oh, because this guy out here. What the hell? The first good stream of the whole night. And I'm like, come on, dog. What is this? This is like that week where I was making posts, and then they kept saying they were gonna bless me with gifts. Still haven't received any of my gifts. I wrote Darnold off. Bro is top of the most improved player, bro.
Let me go inside to the On the Money Sports thing.
The Minnesota Vikings are an interesting situation right now. They just came off of their biggest win of the year by far against the San Francisco 49ers, a win that nobody saw coming, which included a 97-yard touchdown reception from none other than Justin Jefferson. Send Hawaii. They eat that more than anyone. Like, offense is bland. The Minnesota Vikings with Sam Darnold, this might have been a blessing in disguise, because lo and behold, their defense is pretty good too. And the Vikings are a team that we on this podcast wrote off for the entire summer. Like we said to ourselves, don't expect much from the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to be bad this year. Injury-prone Aaron Jones, who's going to be giving Justin Jefferson the ball. McCarthy gets hurt. Addison with the speeding or the DUI. I can't really tell. I don't remember which one it was at this point. But lo and behold, they're 2-0. They are able to sit here and say they are 2-0. There's a lot of teams right now who can't say that. My team being one of them. We're 0-2. The Vikings are 2-0 right now. Running the tables and on top of the NFC North right now. Like on top. You know, it ain't the Lions, it ain't the Packers, it is the Minnesota Vikings.
I can't delete it until after the podcast is done.
I don't know what's going on.
So I'm just trying to get.
We got the Gmail account, Healthcare56. Thank you. But who has surprised you so far? Whether good or, I mean, one of the biggest surprises has been the New Orleans Saints. It's got to be the Saints. 11 touchdowns. Will Levis is a disaster. Like he's just the things that he does.
When he did that lateral, I said, "What is he doing?"
Does crazy things that
Brian Callahan looked and said, "What the are you doing?"
Yeah, it's just
he does it again this week, and he's getting benched. And it's out there because
Bryce Young just got benched.
I can't blame it all on Bryce Young, though.
You can't blame it on Bryce.
I'm going to put 70% on the organization, 30% on him.
But it's just one of those things where a move like that sends shockwaves around the league because a lot of the young quarterbacks who right now aren't playing up to par. Levis ain't the only one.
They gave the Bears a haul.
Yeah.
And now they just benched this kid 18 games. I have a better thing for you. He should have never started it anyway last year. This should have been his first year starting. However, what have you done to put around him? That offensive line is the drizzling shits. I watched that shit and said, oh my goodness. I went back and watched highlights, like the condensed version where it's like 15 minutes. The poor kid's saying hike and then he's getting hit.
Well, I mean, like, I think that just because he's getting benched right now, that doesn't mean that we've seen the end of Bryce Young this year. Andy Dalton ain't going to play no 15 games, you know, like he's getting benched for now. But this goes completely on the shoulders of the ownership and the fact that they've given him nothing.
And kudos to his coach, though, Dave Canales, like for having the brass to do what he just did. Because I think he knows I'm a first-year head coach. If I don't do this, I'm going to lose this locker room. This locker room is going to give up on me. So he did what he had to do. We're going to see if it works out. Bryce can't look at this as a negative thing. Bryce has to look at this as a way to reset his mind, like refocus. You know, it's
not his fault. It's not on him.
Just refocus, get the mental reps, sit back, watch the game unfold, and just relax your mind. You know, multiple people have already come out and stated this is the Panthers' fault. He's already got this sympathy of NFL type analysts who like just say it's an organizational
That's something else that's coming out as far as him, though. He's a smaller Kyler Murray minus like the skill set. Like what does Bryce Young do? You know, like what does he actually do? You know,
he was electric in college,
and it's crazy because you have Jonathan Brooks sitting on IR, and it's like, what are you going to bring him back to, if at all? Like, are you going to bring Jonathan Brooks back to a team that's 0-8 for what?
Well, at least they keep their pick this year.
You know,
maybe they can invest in their offensive line.
And, you know, the difference is Bryce Young is not the reason why the Panthers are losing games. Will Levis is literally costing the Tennessee Titans games. Like, we could be 2-0 right now if it wasn't for the boneheaded plays that he's making on the field. So decisions are going to have to be made.
Throwaway pick and then
forward.
The lateral fumble.
Well, the fumble, and then he follows that up on the very next drive with an interception that just gives the Jets weren't spectacular. We had a rookie running back go out there and score 2 touchdowns on us, Braylon Allen.
Jets did not look impressive at all.
They weren't impressive. They just had opportunities.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets lost tomorrow night.
To the Patriots? Well, Thursday Night Football is back to.
I got scolded by Giants fans
Oh.
for saying that the Giants were going to win more games than the Pats. Pats got one more win than the Giants right now.
Giants fans.
And the Pats probably should have won Sunday if it wasn't for that bullshit pass interference call that went against them.
Giants fans can't even find the win on their schedule right now in the next month and a half. You know, I think we have a good shot of winning this Sunday if our quarterback doesn't screw things up. But once again, who knows? Because we've had the lead in all the games we played so far.
The Malik Willis revenge game.
Well, maybe because Jordan Love is back at practice. Jordan Love is back at practice. He was limited. He's hopeful of playing in the matchup this week, but it's not official. Don't know how many more just got the way they've been playing, but hope to be proven wrong. Stellar matchup between the Jets and the Patriots on Thursday Night Football, Amazon primetime game of the night. That's going to put some butts in seats. AFC East divisional matchup
Patriots
tomorrow.
Are playing good football right now.
It's football time. Patriots are playing complimentary football. 1-1,
doing their thing. Ramondre Stevenson and Antonio Gibson, combined for 178 yards on the ground this past weekend.
Ramondre Stevenson is top 10 right now. Ramondre Stevenson's a top 10 running back. Look it up.
Gibson's top 15.
Gibson is balling. He just had a big week. He had 16 fantasy points. Jets beating the Pats by 10, says Paul. He says, book
it, baby.
Paul is an Eagles fan who is also a Jets sympathist, as I'm noticing. He doesn't have many bad things to say about the Jets. And if the Jets is favored, it smells like a loss. I mean, we can't forget about the historical streak that the Patriots have had over the New York Football Jets in the last 20-something years. The Patriots have always been able to get the best of the Jets. It's a new time period.
The Patriots beat them again last year twice.
Did they? I just know that the Patriots are not as bad as we all thought they were going to be. I know that.
If they are,
and
I'm going to deserve an apology from Chris.
When we're talking about top tens, with Jacoby Brissett under the helm for the Patriots, Hunter Henry is a top 10 tight end. Top 3 tight end, because guess what? The tight end department in fantasy this year absolutely stinks. Isaiah Likely came back down to earth this past week, and Hunter Henry was by far the best tight end in football this past week. It wasn't even close. Travis Kelce is still MIA.
The Jets finally snapped the streak.
I feel bad.
The last game of the season last year.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm leaning towards the Jets. I just know that they've got their work cut out for them. Aaron Rodgers is only averaging 180 passing yards per game. We saw this past week against us, they relied heavily on their running backs. Their running backs were the only touchdowns that they had, with Breece Hall getting the amazing catch that he got in the corner of the end zone, and then Braylon Allen coming through and getting himself touchdowns and putting himself among the mix of players who right now, with all these injuries, a lot of us are looking for those saviors, that next man up. And I'm a little concerned right now, man. And I want to know your take on it as far as this week's waiver wire. How much of this week's waiver wire is is Carson Steele for real?
I don't know, but I picked him up in a couple leagues.
I picked him up in one. But apparently today the Chiefs picked up Keontae Mitchell. Is that who they picked up? The Chiefs just picked up another running back today, on top of signing Kareem Hunt yesterday.
I think Carson Steele's going to get the bulk of the touches this weekend. This is his game to prove if he earned those touches. Okay. However,
Riddick still hasn't shown up too. That's another thing.
If he doesn't play good ball or he doesn't take advantage of his stuff, I could see more touches going to Kareem Hunt by next week. I mean, hey, guys, stop trying to trade a player that hasn't even signed with an organization in your fantasy leagues, or the potential of it.
A lot of trades just can't get done these days. That's just the reality of the situation. A lot of trades just cannot get done these ways. And it's a crazy time period right now, man. We're hitting the panic button. Some teams are hitting the panic button because you've got guys who have guys like Cooper Kupp, A.J. Brown, CMC, all rostered on the same team that they can't play any of those guys. Mm-hmm. You got combinations of guys who have Pacheco and Puka, and they just you don't know what to do. We're sitting here asking ourselves, what is the price tag of a Christian McCaffrey who we know is not going to play for at least 4 or 5 weeks? What are we willing to accept for him? And
just so you can win now.
Like, based on your situation, you got to ask yourself.
I'm just going to wait till he comes back. Well, it doesn't help if you're 0-4, 0-5.
Yeah, like, if you have him in your IR right now, it's like, can you survive? Like, can you survive until CMC
and like
comes
I said, Jordan Mason played good ball this weekend, but he's not CMC.
Joe Burrow's average, and everyone makes excuses for him. There, I said it. Oof. Yeah, the gloves are off. I mean, we got to talk about it since you're bringing it up right now. The Cincinnati Bengals lose a heartbreaker. That the defensive pass interference, questionable, to say the least. Questionable call, to say the least. But a lot of things have been questionable as far as Cincinnati. They don't have a run game anymore. They do not. I don't care if you have Moss. I don't care if you have Chase Brown.
They're not using
it. Ain't working. It ain't working. Jamar Chase is freaking out. Yoshivas had 2 touchdowns this past week going up against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Higgins is milking that hammy.
T. Higgins is milking the clock. The Bengals, who usually always do well against the Kansas City Chiefs, besides the one AFC Championship loss, they took another L to the Chiefs this past Sunday.
That's 2 straight now.
And now you've got the Cincinnati.
Or 3 straight.
2. They're 0-2, right? 0-2?
Yeah.
You got these guys sitting on top of the AFC North at 2-0. With the Browns in second place at 1-1, and you got the Bengals and the Ravens at 0-2. If you would have told me in July that that's what the standings were going to be in that division heading into week 3, I would have been like, you got to be out of your mind. Not just that, but the fact that Justin Fields is looking like he's getting the start. So did Russell Wilson lose his job already?
Not at all.
Like, did the guy lose his job? When is he coming in then?
His calf.
Well, they're gonna wait for Justin Fields to lose one game.
The plan was for him to set these 3 games out regardless because of that calf. Listen, besides the first half of that game, what did Justin Fields do the rest of that game? He missed Pat Freiermuth plenty of times.
In the defense. Defense is allowing an average of 8 points per game right now, dog. Like,
I'm sorry,
crazy.
But I'm just watching Kenny Pickett. I'm watching a better version of Kenny Pickett sustain drives longer for the defense to be rested.
And that's the crazy thing. You're 2-0 saying that. Like, you could be 0-2. Like, you're on the right side of it.
You got to score points. We're not going to beat teams.
Got to score points in this league.
You're not going to beat Kansas City. You're not going to beat the Buffalo Bills, those types of teams. You're just not.
I don't know if he's going to say that they're totally fine, but I'll give credit where it's due. Steelers defense looks nasty this year.
Like, the defense looks nasty because they're actually sustaining drives. So you're keeping TJ Watt and the company fresh. But the problem with sustaining those drives, you're only coming up with 3 points, and that's not going to cut the mustard.
Boswell, top 5 kicker right now.
How did Hogan say about X-Pac?
He didn't quite cut the mustard. Yeah, Boswell.
So unless he comes out this weekend and puts up 3 touchdowns, whether it be 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown run, he needs to put like 3 touchdown drives together for me to say, let him start another week. If not, if Russ is healthy come week 4, you start Russ.
Is Russ going to put 3 touchdown drives together?
I believe he would do.
Is Arthur Smith going to?
He's going to throw the ball
something
more.
Up? Like,
I don't think Arthur Smith completely trusts Justin Fields to throw.
I don't think he knows what to do with him, personally.
So,
like, I don't think he's ever had a Justin Fields type of player that he's been able to, like,
and I kind of think, like, I'm glad he hasn't had turnovers, but I kind of think they're handcuffing him too, not being him. Like, go make it happen. But they're 2-0. And it's not like the Falcons were a bad football team.
If Russ thinks up, do you go back to Fields?
Then you do that.
It's interesting.
I could see that then.
I think you just keep Buffalo Fugazi, Ravens Nevermore, Cleveland Booty Browns, and the Steelers out here cruising, just getting it done. The Browns beat a fraud Jaguars team, so I don't know how much that says about the Cleveland Browns, because I warned you guys about what the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to be, and when you talk about coaches and their hot seats, like Dougie P has got to be coming under fire as far as how hot his seat is. He's coming out and making statements like, we're going to make sure that we give Travis Etienne his carries, blase, blase, blah. Trevor Lawrence is a mediocre quarterback. The Jaguars are a mediocre football team. And, right now they play in a mediocre AFC South division that is run by the Houston Texans, who are sitting at 2-0. I expected the Colts to be a little bit better than they are right now. I expected the Titans to be a little bit better than they are right now, but I expected the Jacksonville Jaguars to be exactly where they are right now, struggling with their offense, a mediocre defense. And, this past week, I fire up Christian Kirk. Why isn't Christian Kirk getting any targets? Why is Gabe Davis getting all the targets? Gabe Davis is an unreliable option. What are we doing out here? It's just ugly football. And it's important to document this stuff and talk about it, because that some of these things are not going to remain the same. Some of these teams are going to improve. Some of these teams are going to adapt, and they're going to look better. And some of these teams are not going to look better. Some of these teams are going to continue down this dark path of going 0-3, 0-4. They're not going to change anything. Not everybody gets that audible. Not everybody gets the audible out of having a bad season. Sometimes you start bad and you finish bad. And that could potentially be our fate. There's a lot of teams that haven't won a game yet. There's a lot of 0-2s out there. And
you got the Ravens that are 0-2. You got the Bengals 0-2. The Ravens are going into Dallas.
I absolutely hate to say it, but the three-peat looks real. I mean, look around. Who's ready to beat them?
They're not playing good ball again. These first 2 weeks, they haven't played good ball. No, I don't care what anybody says. Mahomes is looking normal and more normal as each passing week goes by. The problem is, in the waning moments when he needs to make a play, he's making plays.
And other teams aren't. Other teams aren't. It's as simple as that. We said it last. The preying on the downfall of the Kansas City Chiefs is something that I no longer want to be a part of. So until somebody actually beats them, the
0-2 Bengals play the 1-1 Commanders this weekend on Monday night, part of the doubleheader, and the 0-2 Ravens play the 1-1 Cowboys, and the Cowboys are going to try to get that stench. You got the Cowboys who are going to try to get that stench of that 45-point loss off of them.
Oof.
You got the Ravens who are going to try to find a way, last 2 weeks, they should have won the games that they've been in. I'm a firm believer if Lamar Jackson had just kept the ball and then just juked to his left, he would have broke the defender's ankles and scored.
Cowboys defense got embarrassed, bro.
That's why I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what people think. I don't think the Baltimore Ravens offense is impressive right now.
Neither is their pass defense.
Their defense isn't impressive right now. Dare I say, Justin Tucker is not automatic anymore.
He's bad.
So now you go and then you flip the coin over to Dallas. Dallas looked abysmal in all three facets of the game. I actually thought Dallas was going to come back in the second half because, I could picture as well as Derek Carr had played the first half, I could see Derek Carr first play the second half, doing some goofy shit and giving the ball.
They got embarrassed in Jerry World. And everybody who I said the start of the week was the Dallas Cowboys defense, I'd like to apologize because they were not the start of the week. In fact, they actually got humiliated and destroyed by Alvin Kamara, Derek Carr, Rashid Shaheed, and the New Orleans Football Saints, who are now sitting at 2-0 alongside the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on top of the NFC South. You've got Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield, two top 5 quarterbacks going into week 3 of the NFL season. Again, how much of this is real and how much of this is fodder, we have yet to determine, but we're going to do our very best.
Tampa Bay defense is good. Baker Mayfield is continuing from where he was last year. Baker Mayfield still has weapons, and hey, don't look now. Chris Godwin's back in the slot doing what Chris Godwin was doing when he was primarily in the slot.
Big win against Detroit this past weekend.
And here's the thing. Here's the other thing. Kansas City now owns tiebreakers over the Bengals and the Ravens if it so be it comes to home field.
Yeah.
And remember, I predicted the Ravens to have home field. Don't know if that's happening now. Then on the NFC side of things, if Tampa Bay continues this ascension, they now got a tiebreaker over Detroit.
Yep. Yes, they do. That's big.
That's huge.
That's real big.
Especially in that conference.
Especially with what we've seen
and the
from
49ers,
Jared Goff so
without
far.
Christian McCaffrey, look like a normal football team.
And now this week, they're without Deebo Samuel and without Christian McCaffrey. You know?
Fire up Ayuk.
Yeah.
Hey, time to perform. Time to perform, Papa. You got that $30 million a year. Time to perform.
You know, like this has got to be the Brandon Ayuk special. And you know, if it's not, then damn, like the 49ers front office is probably like, you see, that's why we didn't want to do it. That's why, because he ain't the answer. You ain't got the answer, Sway. Like, it's crazy how things work out. The whole internal struggle for the saga, Ayuk watch, all that. And now all of a sudden, it's all eyes on Brandon Ayuk this week when the 49ers take on their rivals, the LA Rams, who, by the way, are crumbling. They are crumbling. Ever since I said this team's going to go to the Super Bowl, they lost everybody. Cup, gone. Puka Nacua, gone. Their wide receivers 1 and 2 are DeMarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson, maybe. Maybe. Because now Stafford has to go out there and figure out who he's going to throw to. They went out there this past Sunday against a team that they normally dominate in the Cardinals, and the Cardinals went out there and put the boots to the Rams, and the Rams couldn't do a single thing about it. They put the boots to them. Everybody who was worried about Marvin Harrison, relax.
Cardinals could easily be 2-0 if they didn't cough up the lead last week.
Yep. It could be 2-0 right now. So when it comes to keeping tabs on teams,
2-0 West leading Seahawks.
Like, are we looking at a wild card Arizona Cardinals football team? Like,
with all the injuries, you know, we might have to take the Rams out of it because it's just so much to overcome. Because they also got injuries on the offensive line.
They lost like 2 or 3 offensive linemen. They lost defensive players.
I'm not too worried about the weapons around because if Matt Stafford has time, Matt Stafford's going to get. He's going to make somebody famous.
He was terrible this past week.
I really believe that.
He was absolutely terrible.
They got to get that tight end involved too.
Whittington?
Parkinson? Yeah.
Parkinson? Just a bunch of guys who you may have never heard of, who you've been scrambling to pick up on waivers the last 2 weeks, because this isn't just a 1 week thing. Last week, Cooper Kupp had his explosion game. So, you know, for people who had Cooper Kupp, you were excited to fire him up this week, and you were also looking to see, okay, like Puka's out of the picture, so now who's going to be the wide receiver 2 for the Rams? That was a question that we were asking ourselves going into this coming week, and now Cooper Kupp is out, and it's just like, well, damn, like now what is this distribution even going to look like? This football team all of a sudden went from being the ball. Like the 5th seed, 11 and 17
to feed Kyron Williams, feed some Blake Corum, get that going, and then take your chances on play action and work your way down. It can be done. Matt Stafford's been in worse situations. Let's never forget that. Matt Stafford has been in worse situations.
But like at this age, though, you know, we're talking prime, like in his prime at a younger age. Yeah, he was in some shitty situations, but now, with his arm almost like, you know, about to give out on him. It's like you kind of need all those tools to
make
be
the
there.
trade.
I never imagined.
Make the trade.
You know, like, you know, I picked the Rams thinking like, okay, they're all going to be there. But when you take Kupp and Puka out of the equation,
they just got to brave it out until those guys get. If they can be a 500 club from now until then, they'll be fine.
But look around what's going on with their division. You got one division loss already to Arizona. The Seattle Seahawks, like you said, are 2-0.
The 49ers are not impressive. They look like a normal team. Brock Purdy looks like a normal quarterback.
They don't have CMC and they don't have Deebo Samuel.
CMC was the X factor to that offense. Now Brock Purdy is starting to look like Jimmy G. Who would have thought I'd say that?
Who does this benefit most in the NFC? Like all this. Rams being a mess. 49ers.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Interesting.
The Eagles and the Cowboys. This benefits the two of them.
That was going to be my pick. Like, if the Cowboys can just get their shit together, like, you guys could literally take the 1 seed on the NFC side. If you could just, like, listen, I don't know what that was by the Cowboys this past Sunday. I don't know what that was.
Well, Dallas does that once a year.
I can't quantify that.
Dallas does do that once a year in the regular season.
What up, RJ?
Where you're like, what the hell just happened? And then they'll come back the next week. Listen, I hope they win Sunday. It would help me out a lot.
I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure. I haven't even thought that far ahead to Sunday yet. I've been working straight through this entire week. I haven't had a day off since last Sunday. I'm working every day until Sunday. So I literally do not know what I'm doing on Sunday. But I do know that CeeDee Lamb missed practice today because of an ankle injury. So if you have a CeeDee Lamb-less Cowboys team who also doesn't have a real running game, because I don't get whether it's Dowdle, whether it's Zeke, whether it's fucking Cook, it don't matter. It don't matter.
Not at beat the last time we did that, you almost killed everyone.
The wild,
when it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
Wild Wing Bowl Part 2.
I am a real American.
But like Cowboys versus Ravens with no CeeDee Lamb and what? Brandon Cooks limited at practice. Like, now you don't have a true RB1. And is this a maintenance rest day for CeeDee Lamb? Like, is he going to be present for Sunday, or are you going to go out there and not have him whatsoever?
Let's see how serious it is.
And it's funny. It's funny. These wide receivers, a lot of them, all of a sudden,
AJ Brown might be out for a period of time too.
Yeah. Yes.
So
it sounded like he's going to be out for another 2 weeks. A lot of these top
wide receivers are aching right now.
It sounded like he's going to be out for another week or 2 potentially. And we saw that for fantasy purposes, like
Todd Archer covers the Dallas Cowboys since 1997. Reposted this today. No real concern about CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs regarding their availability for Sunday after sitting out Wednesday's practice, according to multiple sources. So they probably gave him a rest day. They'll probably give him another rest day tomorrow. Then Friday they'll practice in full, and then Saturday we walk through, which is good.
Yeah. Because I mean, but damn, I was saying, like, I was leaning towards Dallas in this matchup, but for the Ravens to go 0-3 would be crazy.
Todd Archer also had an interview with Micah Parsons of what happened last week versus the Saints after the film review of what has to happen this week. And I quote, this is Micah's response. At some point, all 11 got to have the same mindset. That's just toughness. You talk about how you want to be and all this other stuff, but you got to go out there and be it. It can't just be one guy. It can't be 2 guys. It's all 11 guys. It takes everyone's. I affect the linebackers affect the DBs. We're all synchronized. Our group's getting effed up, then another group's getting effed up. It's synchronized change. So at the end of the day, it's all about toughness and having the mentality like, I'm going to dominate the man in front of me. Not all 11 had that last week. Oh, it was obvious. You didn't need to tell us that.
And having watched the highlights of that football game, like, is that just an anomaly, or is that the blueprint to being able to beat the Dallas Cowboys defense?
Jake Ferguson also did everything during the open portion of practice today.
Like, when you think about the New Orleans Saints and what they have, like, the Philadelphia Eagles have some of that same personnel. Philadelphia Eagles love to run the football. So if the Dallas Cowboys can't stop the run game, Philly's going to run all over them in their matchup. Well, we saw what Alvin Kamara did. Philly can't stop the run either. The problem is the Cowboys don't have a real running back one to like test that theory out just yet. Because I can't imagine Zeke running all over Philly. If that happens, then, I mean, I can imagine Alvin Kamara running all over Philly this weekend. But for Zeke to do it, that's just a different level. And I warned people. I told people, like, this Eagles defense is going to be suspect. A lot of people think it's going to take them some time to gel together and to work out the kinks. I think that, people aren't going to like what I'm about to say, but the product that we saw on the field this past Monday night during that 2-minute drill is more along the lines of what you're going to see as far as what this Philadelphia Eagles defense is going to be, which is why I have the Philadelphia Eagles going 9-8 with a wild card spot, not winning the division, because I see this football team getting into a lot of shootout situations. If you're a football team that can't put points on the board, the Eagles are going to beat you because the Eagles can put points up on the board. That's where the bread and butter is. It's the talent on the offensive side of the football. You take A.J. Brown out of that equation, the field gets a lot smaller for this football team, but they do still have a great running game. So if they can move the chains by running the rock and bleeding the clock, time of possession, just boring football, they're going to do it. They're going to take advantage of that. But with the limited amount of throws Jalen Hurts is getting right now with the scheme, if he continues to turn the ball over, like if he's giving the other team 2 extra possessions because of boneheaded interceptions that he's throwing, Eagles are going to lose a lot of football games too. That's why I felt like 9-8 was a good place to put them during the offseason.
Let me see something. Looking for more news.
This is 2 tough matchups: Eagles versus Saints, Cowboys versus Ravens. One of them is playing a hungry team that is starving for a win, and the other one is playing a supremely
Kenneth
confident
Walker did not
offense.
practice again today.
Kenneth Walker didn't practice?
Nope.
So Zach Charbonnet still potentially a viable. And hey, Zach Charbonnet didn't do too bad this past week. It wasn't terrible. He got into the end zone. I forgot to check the
A.J. Brown also did not practice.
Yeah, he ain't playing.
The Broncos placed right tackle Mike McGlinchey on injury reserve. He must miss at least 4 games before making a return in Week 7.
Nico Collins missed practice Wednesday. He's expected to play Sunday still.
Amon-Ra St. Brown was listed as a full participant despite the quad injury he suffered.
Rachaad White limited in practice on Wednesday.
The Rams signed veteran wide receiver Quintus Cephas to their practice squad with both Kupp and Nakua's injuries.
Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson both limited in practice.
Packers officially are listing quarterback Jordan Love as a limited participant in today's practice. Sheesh.
Why limited? On top of the guys that we know for a fact aren't going to be around for like another month or so. Just
Rams offensive lineman Jonah Jackson and safety John Johnson III were placed on injured reserve. There are currently no plans to place Cooper Kupp on injured reserve.
Okay, so I luckily we weren't live, but I thought for a second that what I read was that he went on injured reserve. And
Isaiah Pacheco was officially placed on IR today.
He's out 6 to 8 weeks.
Jeez.
And you know what's crazy? I said to myself, July and August is when it's overreaction time and hot takes, but it's actually now. It's actually here in this first month.
Got placed on injured reserve a couple days late.
Like, it's this first month of football with injuries like the ones of CMC and A.J. Brown and Puka Nacua. Like, these are the overreactions. Carson Steele being the waiver wire priority pick of the week. Everybody going all in on Isaiah Likely last week and him coming back down to earth.
DeForest Buckner, defensive tackle for the Colts.
He can't stay healthy.
Injured reserve.
And their defense is trash.
Marshawn Lloyd, injured reserve.
Malik Willis got his first career touchdown pass against the Indianapolis Colts defense, a defense that should have dominated him. And the Packers managed to get that W and beat the Indianapolis Colts. And Anthony Richardson with the lowest QBR in the league right now. He looked absolutely horrific this past week. Scared the shit out of me. Absolutely scared the shit out of me. Somebody who is supremely invested in Anthony Richardson in fantasy football, his performance was terrifying. Because I said to myself, like, oh, okay, week 1 you were this. Week 2 you were this. What's real? That's what I'm asking myself more than anything, Oscar. It's what is real right now? How much of week 1 and 2 can I take into week 3? Consistency, whether it's good or bad, is the only truth. That's it. It's getting ugly out here, man. It's getting ugly.
There's a lot of injuries.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's gross.
Yeah, and you can only hope that this week there's less of that, and it's all big names too. Last year was the big quarterbacks. This
Here it's
year
all wide receivers.
it's the running backs
There's a
and
couple
wide
quarterbacks,
receivers
but it's a ton of wide receivers.
and guys that are milking the
A.J.
clock.
Brown, Puka, Cooper,
Debo.
T. Higgins.
And now Kenny Walker, CMC. Like, the Kenny Walker thing sucks because it's like, yeah, like he's never healthy, but you say to yourself, like, it's still Kenneth Walker. You know, like I watched this guy. Yeah, like, and when he's
balls, even in pain, he balls.
He eats in that system. He eats in that offense. Like, we're seeing a little bit of a on top of the fact that we're seeing JSN take Lockett's spot as the wide receiver 2 on that offense because Metcalf and JSN both had great weeks. Well, Kenny Walker, it's one of those things where it's like, damn, like nothing is complete right now. Like whether you're 2-2, 1-1, 0-2, it's like you're looking at these football teams and you're like, there's a lot missing with this team right now. Like there's a lot missing. And potentially it is the situation of these teams not playing in preseason, not taking the preseason serious. So the product on the field is just very, very muddy. But, I mean, damn, I guess it would feel a lot better to be on the 2-0 side of things, as ugly as everything is going, I'm okay to just get those wins and get the hell out of Dodge. That's kind of what I'm thinking for tomorrow.
Regardless of who the Steelers beat, 2 wins on the road. It's not like they were at home. They started the season first 2 games on the road. To get those 2 wins is big. Now you got a good test coming in this weekend, and the Chargers, who are playing phenomenal defense right now, they are the number 1 rushing team in the NFL right now because of J.K. Dobbins.
Top 5. He's a top 5 running back in the league right now.
He always had that potential. We all knew that.
That boy's balling right now. Who would have thought?
Justin Herbert has only thrown for 273 passing yards.
He's hurt too.
And he's dealing with an injury, an injured knee. They believe he's going to start this weekend, but then there's other discussions that he might not start.
And don't look now.
I personally would like him to start because I want to see where this defense really is at.
Don't look now, but their best wide receiver is their rookie.
McConkey.
McConkey.
And you got Quentin Johnson finally doing something.
Quentin Johnson came out there and he balled out. So he's like the 2 because Josh Palmer is slowly getting phased out. As much as it breaks my heart, my boy Napalm J, it doesn't seem like he's part of the equation just yet. And going up against a good defense like Pittsburgh, I am not excited to start any Chargers players. If I had a J.K. Dobbins and I've benefited
Justin Herbert did not practice today.
Yeah,
it sounded like he has a high ankle sprain, and it's the same ankle they had the plantar fasciitis with.
It's bad, man. It's bad. Like when you think about him, you think about Joe Burrow, it's like they're never going to overcome the injuries. It feels like almost.
So
it's just constantly just taking a toll on them. And with the new regime out there in LA with Harbaugh, wait, are the Chargers 2-0? They haven't lost yet, have they? No, it feels like they have.
2-0, I think.
Like it feels like they've lost, but they really haven't.
They escaped against Oakland. I mean, I'm sorry, Las Vegas.
A lot of teams have escaped.
They beat up the Carolina Panthers this weekend, 26-3. I know the score is not reflective of it, but trust me, they beat them up. Yeah. Oh, no, they didn't escape. They beat the Raiders 22-10.
Yeah, they're 2-0 right now. Battle between 2-0 teams who you wouldn't think at the start of the season that we'd be talking about them being 2-0.
So Dobbins ran for 135 last week. And then this past weekend, Dobbins ran for... Where's the box score? 131.
That's crazy.
260-plus yards.
On 2 bad legs. But now the question is, how long is this going to last? And that's an interesting question because it's a double-edged sword in the sense where it's regular football as well as fantasy. How much can you get out of a trade where you're giving away J.K. Dobbins right now? How high can you sell J.K.? Because let me tell you something. You got to do it before it's too late. Sometimes you got to do it before it's too late. It's J.K. Dobbins. It's the Chargers. Like, I'm not saying he's fool's gold because what he's doing right now is legit. I'm just saying a month from now, a month and a half from now, is J.K. Dobbins still going to be a top 5 running back?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think he stays healthy this year.
You know, it's just a question that you have to ask yourself if you're one of those fantasy teams that's dealing with a lot of injuries and you need to make you gotta. It's time to bust moves. It's time to bust moves.
Speaking of
shit's getting ugly out here.
The Rotten Giant. He has all 3 of his McCaffrey IR.
Yeah,
Njoku.
I saw that.
Like, what's the deal with Njoku?
He's not playing on Sunday. He's most likely not playing.
Still isn't playing.
So, but the thing is, what makes it even more messed up is if you're trying to find a tight end that is going to replace him, unless you have Hunter Henry, it don't matter because all these tight ends stink right now. They're all terrible.
All of them.
All of them.
Even Laporta.
All right? Laporta stinks.
Oh, look,
Kelsey
I got offered a trade.
Stinks. All right?
Let's see what horrendous offer Terrell has
likely came back down to earth.
Oh, look at this. DeAndre Hopkins and Cooper Kupp for Nico Collins. Decline.
Nico Collins is wide receiver 1 for Houston. I Sunday Night Football, I fell asleep to watching him get like 20 targets. And he made a ton of catches. He had 130-something receiving yards, a touchdown. Like, Nico Collins was eating. And, you know, RIP to the Tank Dell truthers out there. Because Tank Dell, one of my opponents started Tank Dell on Sunday night. And they needed to get some points from him, and he gave them absolutely nothing. Which I was absolutely grateful for. What, sick picks?
Hollywood Brown on IR and Keaton Mitchell on IR.
I need a win in sick picks real bad.
Oh, he should just cut Hollywood Brown.
That's his boy. It's hard to cut one of your boys.
Don't look now. The 2-0 one last ride.
You're 2-0 in sick picks?
Yep.
Oh, shit. Wish I was 2-0. I'm 0-2.
Oof.
You see me at the bottom there? District 12?
Yep. Yes, I do.
You see us? You see my picture? That's us, baby. We are.
We are
starting
partial.
Slow. But nonetheless, we're picking up speed, picking up momentum. This weekend, we get another weekend of hopefully some answers and probably a few more questions. Still a tied ball game, huh?
Yep. Come on, Wawa.
Brewers and the Phillies going toe-to-toe right now. Brewers just clinched the National League Central because the Cubs lost earlier, so the Brewers have clinched their division. They've got their
Alec
spot.
Bohm with the home run today.
Alec Bohm with a home run. I mean, that's a good thing if, you know, he came back from his injury. And
I don't care about that. That's not what I bet.
Yeah, I feel you. I wanted the Schwarber bomb, too. I did the either or of Schwarber or Willie Adames.
You get either or yet?
I don't think so. Because I don't know if that one from the Brewers is Adames. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure it's not. But nice ball game.
Reese Hoskins.
Figures. He's definitely that team's been hitting, man. You know, they lost their boy. What's his name? Your boy, Yelich. They lost Christian Yelich.
And they're still playing ball.
They're playing ball. They're playing consistent baseball. They won their division before a lot of teams won their division. And we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the MLB playoff race now. Only 10 games left for everybody. Playoff picture is going to be set in stone pretty soon, and we're going to be getting those wild card matchups as well as the first 2 seeds getting the bye week in the MLB.
The Phillies are 2 games away from the 2 seed.
Yep.
Their magic number for the 2 seed.
The Braves won today, but I believe the Mets also won today, so that doesn't help the Braves at all whatsoever.
So is Frank all right?
Maybe for today, until the Dolphins kick off this weekend. Up until the Dolphins play. Right now, the Mets are not a problem for Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank is chilling right now on the Mets. It's all Dolphins right now. It's all Skylar Thompson, and
he wasn't last week when the Phillies took 2 out of 3 from them. He was going batshit crazy.
Yeah. He needs to really he needs to chill with that.
They got a 2-game lead on the wild card.
Yeah,
they're tied with the Diamondbacks. Looks like the Padres got the 2.5 game on the 5th seed.
Padres are playing some good baseball too. And I believe they're winning today, if I'm not mistaken. And we went underway about 30 minutes ago against the Seattle Mariners. We shellacked them yesterday.
Right now, the Cardinals are bludgeoning the Pirates 10-5. The Tigers are beating the Royals 4-2. The Rangers are currently beating the Blue Jays 2-0 in the top of the 9th. And the Yankees are already up 1-0. The A's beat the Cubs. The Diamondbacks beat the Rockies. The Angels beat the White Sox. And the Giants beat the Orioles yet again as the Orioles continue to flounder.
Love it.
However, they have a 4-game lead in the wild card.
Yeah. But the wild card's not secured for them yet, though. If they keep losing, they can fall out completely.
The Orioles in their last 10 games are 2-8.
And they just DFA'd Kimbrel today. And the fact that they still lost after that is absolutely amazing to me.
Yeah. I was surprised Kimbrel still got a job after collapsing in the playoffs last year.
He does. He does Oscar money. He still has a job. He's not getting the vast entrances that he used to get like when he was in Philly. But nonetheless, he still has a job. Well, yeah, not anymore until somebody's going to pick him up, though. The Mets, the Pirates. I'm telling you, one of those NL teams, like one of those middle of the pack, Cincinnati. He looks, I could picture him in any 3 of those jerseys. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, New York. Mets, that is. I could absolutely
I'm just excited that we got it through an hour.
Yeah, we were able to.
Interruptions.
Wanted to get some sustainable content out there. Apologize for having to cut it short. It was just a lot of technical difficulties and the woozies and the wazies. But we were able to get some type of good conversation in. The comments weren't flowing as they usually are, but we weren't flowing as we normally are.
Fans knew what we were doing.
So nonetheless, I think it's a good time to put our on the money picks out there. Put them out into the stratosphere and, keep rolling from there. Last week, I went 2-3 with my on the money picks. Things just were not playing out well for me. I've got an overall record of 5-5. We are all actually 5-5. Mikey, don't know if you're watching. You're probably asleep right now. I know you got to get up super early for work, so you're probably going to have to post your on the money picks on the forum as soon as you see this. You can post yours before the weekend. With my on the money picks this week, trying to redeem myself after a tough 2-3 week. At number 1, this is assuming that CeeDee Lamb does play. I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys over the Baltimore Ravens with my first pick. Second pick at number 2, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Los Angeles Chargers. Number 3, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs over the Atlanta Falcons. Low-key could be a good, maybe the Atlanta Falcons are the team that can unlock the Chiefs' potential on offense, because with this whole running back situation going on with the Chiefs and Pacheco not being there, I think that we're finally going to get to see the Patrick Mahomes that we've been wanting to see as far as why we draft Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes might start going off pretty soon. And if you're a Travis Kelce owner, you can only hope that can mean good things for Travis Kelce and everybody else, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice. So I've got the Chiefs going over Atlanta. A Monday night doubleheader this week. I've got the Cincinnati Bengals going over the Washington Commanders. And at number 5, of course, I've discussed it before. I'm doubling down on it right now. I've got the New Orleans Saints beating the Philadelphia Eagles because Eagles defense is just no good. Eagles defense is no good, and Jalen Hurts is going to give the Saints offense more opportunities to score. And the Saints are hot right now. a couple months from now, ask me the same question, I might switch up my answer, but I've got the Saints over the Eagles. So once again, that's Cowboys, Steelers, Chiefs, Bengals, and New Orleans Saints for my On the Money picks.
I got the Eagles actually beating the Saints.
Okay.
I think the Saints' little fairy tale 2-0 run
Comes
ends
to an
this
end.
weekend.
Okay.
I got the Indianapolis Colts giving the Bears another loss. I think the Colts is a get-right game for them.
I'm tired of picking them.
Because the Colts, honestly, still have a chance to be active in this division.
We're all 0-2 besides Houston. We're 0-6.
I already said it earlier in this podcast, in the first part, if you watched
Dolphins.
it. I got the Dolphins beating the Seahawks. I also have the Cowboys beating the Ravens. I just think the Cowboys are going to come back sharper. They're going to be angry. They got embarrassed. They're not going to want to get embarrassed again. And lately with the Ravens, I'm just not trusting them.
So Ravens
right
0-3, you saying? Are the
Quite
Ravens
possible.
going to miss the playoffs?
Oh my God! Now that I think about that,
Because they're coming back from 0-3. Like that's tough. I picked the Cowboys to win too, but I'm also realizing by picking that it's like I'm sentencing the Ravens to death basically.
I don't know.
Because you go 0-3, you can easily go 7-10, 8-9. Like
Yeah.
the
margin for error is very, very thin once you go 0-3. Is there an opportunity to make the playoffs still? Absolutely.
Is this a
But you
fireable
have
offense?
to play mistake for it. Could be.
You know, like what that would be the biggest disappointment of the season.
Yeah. And last, I got the Lions over the Cardinals.
Okay.
So again, I got the Eagles over the Saints, Colts over the Bears, Dolphins over the Seahawks, Cowboys over the Ravens, Lions over the Cards. Hopefully I can get me a 4-1 so that I can get my record better, because right now I'm just 500 like the rest of these teams. We didn't play their players in preseason.
Yeah, we're all mid. And my start of the week last week failed ginormously. And so far, up until this point, my start of the week for this week hasn't really made much noise. But this right here is the week where I'm picking him, simply because this has to be the week. If you can't get it done this week, see ya. There's nothing left to be said. My start of the week, fire him up this week, is none other than Zamir White versus the Carolina Panthers defense, the 32nd ranked run defense in the league. Fire up Zamir White. If he can't get it done against this defense, and I know they might have a little bit of a spark because the Red Rifle is back. The Red Rifle is back, ladies and gentlemen. So we might see this could be a low-key good fantasy football matchup. We're hoping, for those of us who have like Deontay Johnson, Chuba Hubbard, Adam Thielen, for anybody who still is holding on to him. You'd like to think that Andy Dalton can give them a little bit of a shot in the arm, but I think Zamir White has himself a game. Pierce was speaking about, continuing to just feed him and involve him in the offense and keep kind of trying to build his confidence. So this is the ultimate confidence builder against arguably the worst team in the National Football League, the Carolina Panthers. Zamir White, my start of the week for this week. I'm 1-1 so far on starts of the week, so I figured I'd get a little spicy with it in week 3.
I'll give you one. Michael Pittman.
Michael Pittman, that's a good one. A lot of people are ready to sell Michael Pittman right now. They're not loving him anymore.
It all starts this weekend.
Michael Pittman against the
Chicago Bears secondary.
Chicago Bears. Okay. All right. Zamir White and Michael Pittman. There you go. I've actually got them together in one league, so I'm literally going to take this advice, and it's either going to propel me to a win or it's going to cost me a week of fantasy. But here on the Money Sports, we put our money where our mouth is, because we don't run, we don't duck, we don't dodge. We will be here same time, same place next week, hopefully with less technical difficulties, so we can give you a little bit more of a deep dive as far as our breakdown. I'm just happy that we were able to record something to put out there for tonight. Thanks to this guy right here, you know what I mean? Just working fast and, just putting everything together, figuring things out, thinking fast.
Directly under the tower, so it worked. And
tower power.
It happened.
Yep. So until then, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we will be here maybe with Mike D, maybe not, depending on his schedule. breaking down everything that went down in week 3 and giving you a preview of everything to look forward to for week 4. By the way, the Thursday night football game for next week is Giants and Cowboys. So, not much to expect there. Notice how much time we spent on the Jets and Patriots this week. What can we say? It's football, right? It's football. I'm not wasting battery on it. Wild Wings, Cowboys, and Giants next Thursday. Oof, that'll be a big one. I wonder what Matt's record will be for them by then. Nonetheless, people, you guys have a good night. Peace.